Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of Battlebots What If. It is here, it is time. We are here. Joining me in this one, we got Green Square, we got Pory, we got Oblivion Prime, we got Spin Doctor. How are all you guys doing
We're chilling, man.
Had a lovely family get together for
Going pretty
Christmas.
well.
I'm doing well myself, so yeah. But before we we're at episode 3 now, which means we are going into the third Discovery season bracket. So yeah, it should be a fun one. Before we start though, I have a question for Spin Doctor. What's the largest country in the world? Spin.
You just made him quit the podcast. Way to go.
Yeah, come on, civilian arc.
I guess Spin hates me.
This is us. Tag yourself.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know what Spin's doing if his mic is down or whatever, but alright.
I mean, the thing's lighting up, so I think he's having errors on his end.
Yeah, that's what my guess. But hopefully Spin will solve it at some point
Yeah.
soon.
Alright, so here is the 2020 bracket. This is a pretty decent lineup, if I do say so myself. I don't think this is as stacked as something like the 2018 bracket, but there's still a lot of big names here. We got a bunch of 3-0 bots. We got Copperhead, Jackpot, Mad Catter, Beta. You also got some... We also got a lot of 1 and 2 bots and 2 and 1 bots that got some hype. Bots like Scorpios, Kraken, Malice.
Scorpios wasn't 1 and 2.
I said 2 and 1 as well. 1 and 2s and 2 and 1s.
Kraken wasn't 2 and 1.
I said 2 and 1s and 1s and 2s.
What?
Jesus. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, a lot of big names here. A lot of seasoned veterans such as Hypershock and Beta and Lockjaw. So, yeah. Let's start this thing off with the 32 seed Hypershock versus the 16 seed Malice. Hypershock, the 2016 best driver. And Malice, I got a hot take here. If they still did best driver awards, I think Malice would be a contender for the 2020 best driver award. Because the Malice huge fight was driven so perfectly. And
it was driven well.
I mean, true, but it's not like consistent, excellent driving.
Yeah, I'd still say Malice has some driving potential, and as is Hypershock. But yeah, Hypershock started season 1 and 2 with a win against Mammoth, but a loss to Endgame and Gruff in what I think is the second most pathetic main event ever. So yeah, what are your guys'? Malice went 2 and 1 in this season, taking out Axe backwards and bullshit decision on Shatter, in my opinion.
Yeah, I disagreed with that.
Yeah, I would agree as well.
And
I did agree with the call, but that's not because I like Malice.
It's because you like Malice Green.
Hey, I like Shatter too. Like like between all the Battlebots builders that have influenced me, if I was to rank them, Adam Wrigley would be in like the top 5 and stuff.
Green. He let down his hair, man.
Let down his hair, it's true.
Yeah.
Malice took a loss to Mad Catter in what in my opinion, is the most pathetic fight ever in terms of how much hype it could have been, but it turned out to be such a letdown, so fuck that fight. But yeah, what are your guys'
Hey,
thoughts
Civ,
on
I
this
have a
fight?
question for you.
Yeah, what do you got?
So you hate Mad Catter because it had a boring third fight. Why don't you hate Malice because it had a boring third fight?
Because
it's Malice's fault that they had that boring third fight.
Yeah, no, it's not. Mad Catter could have gone out.
Yeah, it is. They designed their robot.
Mad Catter could have sent it, Pory. What happens to sending it? Huh? Why wouldn't you send it, Pory? You're the send it guy. Why don't you tell me?
If I was Mad Catter's driver, I would not send it.
Mr. Civ, why don't you fucking send it all the time?
Yeah, because you don't, because you're a metagamer.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna get involved in this one.
Green knows what's up.
I'll just share a few things first. First thing is towards civilians where he would consider Malice one of the best drivers. I do think Malice does have a really good driver there. Like
Yes.
the fights with Huge and Axe Backwards were both driven perfectly. And they did a really good job driving the Tracer fight and the Shatter fight, even with no weapon. Then the second thing, this is how I scored the Malice and Shatter fight and stuff in terms of the judging criteria. So I scored damage 3-2 for Malice and stuff because like the big hit at the beginning that lost Malice's weapon and Shatter's weapon and stuff, like I gave them each 2 points each. But then from there, we saw a bunch of flakes of Shatter's armor coming off time and time again, while Shatter's axe shots were doing like axe yeah, axe arm shots are doing no damage to Malice. And so aggression then, because Shatter kept striking with their hammer arm, I gave them the edge in aggression 2-1, but Malice was being incredibly aggressive too, so of course I'm gonna give them a point too. Yeah, and then for control, I gave Malice the edge on that one, because even though Shatter was getting more hits in, Malice was clearly winning a lot of the pushing that was going on in that one. So that's how I scored that fight. So now to this fight and stuff, since those two questions, my opinion is shared. So
Thank you,
for
Green.
this one, if these two had a weapon on weapon exchange, I think Hypershock would almost certainly win that exchange, because I think Malice would struggle to win a weapon on weapon exchange with a vertical spinner and so on. But then the other thing that's got to be put in question is Hypershock was definitely not the most reliable robot, except for like the Mammoth fight and the Ghost Raptor fight.
Which
And
are
I think
kind of
Malice would definitely outlast Hypershock if it came to like a reliability and durability battle
oh
between
yeah.
those two. And that is the reason why I am probably going to say Malice, just because of Hypershock's inconsistencies. But if
Yeah.
Hypershock was working as well as it did in like the Mammoth and the Ghost Raptor fights, Hypershock would probably get my vote. But
Yeah.
Ghost Raptor's just been
Yeah,
too
I get what you're saying.
inconsistent that season, so I'm gonna pick Malice for that one.
Yeah. In my opinion,
But that's
or what do you got, Oblivion?
I do get what Dean is saying. But I would still side with Hypershock. Hypershock would definitely win the head-on-head exchanges. It would probably use its big wedge as well, which we've seen can take a bit of punishment. I'm assuming it's the same wedge they used for Valkyrie and stuff. On the topic of reliability,
Can I just say Hypershock never used that wedge once. It used the shitty Witch Doctor wedge that did absolutely nothing.
it never did
Problem
face a
is that
horizontal in
Hypershock, I don't
2020
think
though.
they didn't fight a horizontal.
Yeah,
Ghost
aside
Raptor.
from
Ghost
Ghost
It fought
Raptor.
Raptor.
horizontal in 2020.
Oh, Ghost Raptor. I suppose I'd
I mean,
count
Ghost
that
Raptor
one.
isn't.
Ghost Raptor doesn't
Never
count.
posed as much as a threat. See, Ghost Raptor would never have posed as much as a threat as Malice. I would still assume they would go with a wedge against an actually serious horizontal in Malice. And even if they do use the other sort of wedge they use for Ghost Raptor, they would still be durable enough in the front at least to take hits from Malice, which is a big hitter, but it's not like it's not nearly Tombstone level. Or even Valkyrie level for that matter. Hypershock would definitely win head on head. It could definitely outmaneuver Malice as well, hit the side. So I don't see it doing much damage to the wheels or to the back. It would still get some points on damage and aggression and control. On the topic of reliability, in 2020, the only time it showed unreliability was against Graph. It did also show weapon unreliability against Pokenog, but I mean that was after the season, so I
I
guess I
I
mean,
don't
would add
consider that.
Hyper. I don't mean to
Like
interrupt you. I
in
would
the
probably add
Mammoth fight and even in
Hydra,
the end game fight,
Scorponok, and
the
Scorpios
drive
to
was
that.
working perfectly fine. Their weapon was working perfectly fine. Even though the end game fight was criminally short, they still worked pretty well for the time it went on. I doubt it would face the same reliability issues. Like maybe the weapon would go off a minute or a minute and a half into the fight. But by then, I'm sure Hypershock can do enough damage, and even after that, get more than enough control to win the fight against Malice. And unlike Malice versus Shatter, if Hypershock does lose its weapon, it can still definitely control Malice around the arena. And you talked about Hypershock's unreliability. Well, Malice's weapon is also extremely unreliable.
Yeah, but
It spits out its chain.
But that's a chain issue. That's more of a fact of like durability and such, and not like an
I mean,
internal issue.
true.
That's an external
True,
issue
true,
more.
but that does still come into play here. Whether you call it reliability or durability, Malice has shown consistently that after a few hits, it just throws the chain off, which is probably what's going to happen here as well. Because Hypershock is going to charge right at it. It's going to get have a bunch of force going into the attack, which is probably going to dislodge the chain. And without the spin, a Malice can essentially do nothing in this fight. So I have to go with Hypershock here.
Yeah. Hi, Pory here. It's I gotta agree with Oblivion. Like, I feel like Hypershock probably would use the wedge just because like Malice is actually a horizontal spinner I'd be scared of. No offense to Ghost Raptor, but I wouldn't be afraid of that spinner. But it's but also they did have a lot of reliability issues. Like the Slarkanok fight was so embarrassing it literally is lost media. So like that's a thing. But I still think that Hypershock, like as long as it doesn't randomly die, I feel like it clean sweeps this fight, to be honest. Like Malice will definitely do a little bit of damage, no doubt, but I think Hypershock will have the control, will have the aggression, and then damage will probably be like kind of here and there, and then Hypershock will have style because it's fast. But I'm gonna have to go the Hypershock route.
Spin, what do you got?
Is my mic working now?
Yes, it is working, my man.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So, I have a question. So, would Hypershock and Malice have the reliability they had in the first Bounty Hunters fight, or they just have like basically just like normal reliability?
Normal reliability.
Like
how
oh,
it like
okay,
the
I think I'm gonna
consistency.
leave Malice
Yeah,
here.
because like I think bounties happened like in the second, like during like the second, third, or even semifinals of
Yeah.
the tournament and stuff. Because I think bounties were happening in round of 16 and the round of 8
Yeah.
and stuff based off of what I've heard, but
Yeah.
I'm not completely sure on
Okay.
that.
So
I think I'll leave Malice here.
all right.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave Malice. Malice, I think what's gonna happen is they're just gonna run into each other and just consistently trade blows, and I do think that Malice is gonna win the encounters. I'm not like, I think sorry, I'm really bad at articulating my thoughts.
You're good.
I think they're just gonna drive into each other, weapons going. I think Malice is gonna survive longer, and I think Malice is gonna just keep going and keep being aggressive. That's what they're good at. They're good at being aggressive. Will Bales is also good at strategy, but I think Malice is gonna keep coming at Hypershock, and Hypershock is just gonna keep taking hits. But I think Hypershock is gonna take the hits worse than Malice, because like Malice is gonna take hits at the front of their drum, and Hypershock is gonna take hits at their weapon and or wedge. And if I'm recalling correctly, sorry, Ghost Raptor did quite a bit of damage to Hypershock. Like, obviously, it died too quick to actually do anything with it, but one hit did quite a bit of damage to Hypershock's weapon, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. So I think I'll go Malice.
All right. So it's all down to me, huh? Okay. So
Yep.
here's my issue with this, and here's the thing. While both bots have had reliability issues, I feel like just the main factor that Hypershock has beaten bots very destructively in this season. But here's the thing. They're not good bots. I mean, Ghost Raptor is probably the shittiest 1 and 2 bot of the season. Or at least one of them. Top 5 shittiest. And Mammoth can't handle a spinner for shit unless it's like Copperhead, and that decision was bullshit anyways. And with Malice, sure, it's gotten some gimmies. I mean, yeah, X backwards loses to like everything. Even fucking Falcon. And the Shatter decision was bullshit, but Malice still has a destructive weapon on his hands. Like, I feel like Malice could have done a lot of damage to Mad Catter if it didn't pull a Surgeon General but didn't get back to its wheels. So I'm gonna go with Malice for this one just because I feel like Malice is more consistent in terms of its weapon. So yeah.
I
And
mean,
Bravo.
really? I mean, again, like Malice spits out his weapon chain every 20 seconds.
Yeah,
Hypershock-
that
Hypershock is
is true.
unreliable, sure, but Malice is even more so at least it's not durable enough to survive enough hits for its weapon to actually like take a look at its fights. Okay, its axe backward fight it got like 2 hits, and that was
To
all
be
that was
honest, I
needed
am a
as far
little
as I
curious
remember.
who would win a push fight between those two, because Malice has
Malice's
Hypershock.
drive is
Malice-
fucking powerful as shit.
here.
Malice's
Yes.
drive is powerful, but so is
Like-
Hypershock. It's not like
Here, hear me out.
Didn't it-
Hypershock's
Hear me out on
drive
this
is
one.
Didn't it struggle
Malice
to
was
push
able
around
to outpush
Sporkanock?
Shatter in that fight. Like, even with Shatter's front being sloped similar to
And
Hypershock,
Shatter
Malice
was
is
burning
winning
out.
the push battle, just proving the battle
Sha-
of their
Shatter was
proving the
burning
power
out.
of their drivetrain.
sure, but Hypershock is well driven enough to get to Malice's sides at least a couple of times.
I can't believe we're having an
Yeah.
overhaul Ice Wave debate this early in the
I
bracket.
mean, it's not really that level, but one thing I want to correct you on, Civilian Arc, when did Falcon fight Axe backwards?
2019. Oh wait, no, that was Marvin.
Oh, he
No, it
didn't?
never did. Axe backwards.
They fought Marvin.
Yeah, I got Marvin and Falcon confused because they fought each other at some point. Okay, so on to the next
Yeah.
fight where Greena's fucking whatever. He wants
Oh,
to go.
no.
He wants to go first. Greena's requested to go first, so we have a rematch of the second aired 2018 fight
Oh.
of the season. Before there was the Bronco Unicorn. Before there was Hydragate. There was whatever the fuck Sub-Zero used, like an ass cage or whatever. Yeah, that's what Sub-Zero used.
Ass cage.
Huge won that fight on a judge's decision, and
Yeah.
So Sub-Zero started the fight, and these two have very different stories in their preseason. Huge has a 1-2 record going into it, losses to Hydra, which, well, it's very controversial. I do agree with the decision, and
Thank you.
I'm
and
50-50.
and a loss to Mammoth, which is one of the most glorious fights of all time. As well as a win against Kraken, which is one of the funniest fights of all time. And Sub-Zero got a loss to Jackpot, where it could have won if it didn't shit itself. And wins against Sporkanock and Grabot. So, Green, what do you want to say about this fight?
All right, yes, and I did request to go first on this one because I have a take on this one. So we know that Sub-Zero
Wow.
came in with attachments like what Civilian said that for when they fought in 2018, which are meant to be kind of like de-icer type attachments, try to keep Huge's weapon away from it. I personally think Sub-Zero would try to rent out the bike rack that Hydra used, because we know Hydra put it up as like $1 per fight type thing.
I
I
think they
feel
were
like
serious.
Sub-Zero might try to go with that strategy if they fought Huge again, just knowing it works, and because Sub-Zero is probably going to try to keep the weapon away from it. But the only difference is I think Sub-Zero is going to be way less hesitant to actually try to use their primary weapon and not go with like a similar strategy to Hydra, where Hydra was trying to box Huge into the corner and then do exactly what they did, just keep Huge in the corner for the remainder of the fight and stuff. But what I think is going to happen here is I think Sub-Zero is going to come in with, the bike rack, like what I said, even though I don't think Battlebots would allow that, just knowing what they got from the Hydra and Huge fight. But I think Huge is going to adjust to that a little bit and stuff. And while I do think Logan Davis is a good driver, I think Jake
He's not as
Ewert
good as
is a
Jake
bit of a
Ewert.
superior
My
driver
God.
between the
Come
two.
on.
And I think Huge might break the bike rack and then just dismantle Sub-Zero. And so I'm going to vote Huge, but judge's decision here. And I would
Yeah,
probably say I would probably say
I
we're going to see
would.
rest in peace bike rack if something like that was to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So my rebuttal for that is I don't think. Okay. Here's the thing.
Jesus.
Sub-Zero has better sportsmanship than Team Waiachi by like 100 miles. Like they legitimately want to fight. they wouldn't. I don't think they would even bother. I mean, obviously the bike rack thing was a meme anyway. I don't think if I handed like Jake Ewart like $1, I don't think he'd let me put it on the bung. Like, I don't think it would happen. But
Yeah, it's a
also,
bug.
like, I don't think that Sub-Zero would do that because like Sub-Zero just wants to like fight robots. Like, they don't care.
But I do think they're going to come with a similar
Yeah, I do get what
for
Pory is
that, if
saying,
not
and
the
I do
same
agree with
thing.
Pory in
That's
this.
my opinion, though.
I doubt. See, even if Jake Ewart does allow, right, Battlebot isn't gonna allow it. Since when is I doubt that would be allowed. And even if it is, even if it is, one major difference between Hydra and Sub-Zero is the driving. Jake Ewart is a masterful defensive driver. He's an amazing driver. Logan Davis, on the other hand, is not a very good driver. No offense, but
He's
I
a
mean,
good driver. He's just not as good as
How dare you?
Jake
Who's
Hey,
Ewart.
really, like, I mean, if you take a look at the bounty hunters, like, the reason I think, okay, first I have to say my opinion, Sub-Zero wins this,
Wow.
because,
Interesting.
listen to it, just hear me out.
It's because you
Because
love
of
flippers,
Sub-Zero
isn't it?
No, because of Sub-Zero versus Valkyrie, I would say Sub-Zero wins this. Okay, because normally I would say huge any day. Sub-Zero was pretty badly driven. It's not that durable. I would say it's arguably not even as durable as Hydra in the new form. Again, its driving is like pretty bad, where it keeps drifting and showing its sides to opponents, like against Malice and against Witch Doctor. And it's not even that reliable either. And Huge on the other hand is an absolutely destructive force. And I don't know if Sub-Zero can even like necessarily reach its body that well. But again, the reason I have to go with Sub-Zero here, as much as I love Huge, is Sub-Zero versus Valkyrie. Because that was a the second, I mean, the Bounty
that was
Hunters, Valkyrie versus Sub-Zero. Because that was a masterful driving. Like on a regular day, Logan Davis is driving, no offense, is not that good. But in that specific fight, I'm not sure if he drove it, but whoever drove that specific fight was amazing. That was exactly what you have to do against a horizontal like Valkyrie. And it's exactly what you have to do against a spinner like Huge as well. And in 2020 especially, Huge's spin up was so horrendously bad, I have no doubt Sub-Zero can keep it jammed up. Sub-Zero is also a decently tall robot, like it can definitely block up Huge's spinner. It's not like
Knock up.
I mean, it's tall enough, and its flipper should flip high enough to hit Huge at least a bit. And again, Huge in 2019 was really good. Huge in 2018 was also pretty good, and its spin up was just like a few seconds, I think. But in 2020, its spin up was, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but it was definitely over 5-6 seconds. Like, it was super slow, and a lot of robots could take advantage of it. Even Malice was able to consistently jam up Huge to an extent, in spite of being such a low robot. And Sub-Zero, I mean, I would say this either goes to a unanimous. This probably goes to a split decision, honestly. It could go to unanimous as well. Huge is not getting knocked out. But Sub-Zero, in my opinion, should be able to keep the distance close enough to consistently get underneath and push it out and flip Huge a bit. It's not going to be nearly as dominant as Huge versus Hydra, but it definitely stands a better chance at winning than Bronco simply because it's much more aggressive. And as they showed in the Valkyrie fight, if it's driving well, it's driving really well. So in my opinion, I would have to give this to Sub-Zero. I think that's a pretty hot take, honestly, but I have to give it to Sub-Zero.
Yeah. Sven, you go ahead. I'll go last.
Okay, so I just want to say, clear up something that happened. Waiachi, I think, cut up and re-welded the bike rack to make some sort of clothing that was supposed to scare the Gigabyte team into building up their bot like around the clothing that they're scared. Sorry. So I heard this on Behind the Bots. They cut up the bike rack to make the clothing that was posted before the Gigabyte Hydra fight aired. Do you remember that image?
Yeah.
So they cut that up to make that. So the bike rack is not for sale.
However,
But I do.
Sven, in this timeline, Hydra would have never fought Gigabyte, so they wouldn't have had to troll Gigabyte.
Yeah.
You're right.
That is a very valid point. But either way,
I didn't think about that. Okay.
Again, Sub-Zero, honestly,
even
Sub-Zero has a much higher chance of winning if it doesn't use the bike rack. because I don't think Sub-Zero's driving style is fashioned nearly well enough to use the bike rack well. Spin's mic having problems because it's
No,
like
no, I think he's fine. Spin.
uh,
You there?
Okay, so
Spin.
like even then, I'm still gonna say Sub Zero wouldn't use it. They'd still have some sort of huge attachment, but I don't think it's gonna be as effective as a bike rack. I don't think Logan Davis is is as good a driver as Jake Hubert to utilize something similar to bike rack as well. He's not as great defensively, and I think he will make mistakes that Jake Hubert wouldn't make. And I do think Huge will get around. Oblivion does make a good point. He doesn't have a good spin up, and Logan Davis is a good driver. I just don't think that Sub Zero is going to take the hits as well as other bots would. Um, I'm not sure how well armored they are, but they aren't as well armored as, say, like Whiplash and like that. Who, I just, I like. I think I think they will take enough hits that will build up on Sub Zero. I think Sub Zero will just lose damage. Um, and just Huge will just split some of the other ones, not like in their favor, but like get some points. Because I do think Sub Zero will slip up.
Pory, what do you got?
The Bronco fight, but with more damage. Thank you.
So
why you gotta bring that up?
so you're
I'm just look. I'm rooting for Bronco, but it's.
so you're voting Huge.
I'm sorry. I'm voting
I
Huge.
have to say, like, if Bronco was aggressive as it was in the middle part of that fight, it would have probably won that fight.
Oh yeah, probably. That's Bronco's problem. That's always been Team Inertia Labs' problem since
Yes.
Toro. Like they're just they have cowardice moments in fights that like pretty much kill them. Like there's a lot of fights where they would have won it
They would
if they
win if they were more aggressive.
they just go for it.
Yeah. So what I think will happen in this fight is that Sub-Zero will use an attachment. I think they'll attempt to use something similar to the bike rack, but not exactly the same thing. Not the same wideness as it was. Because Sub-Zero already had an attachment that was kind of similar to the bike rack in some ways. So I feel like Sub-Zero will get more flips than Bronco did on Huge, but I feel like they won't be even close to as impressive as the flips Bronco got on Huge were, because the flips Bronco got on Huge were fucking amazing. Those were beautiful. And I feel like Sub-Zero will get a few, like, semi-flips on him, but not anything to write home about. So, I'm gonna go with Huge by this. I honestly don't see Sub-Zero getting KO'd in this fight, in all honesty. So I'm gonna go, but I think it's gonna be a unanimous decision for Huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's 4-1 for Huge, I guess.
Yeah. And next up is the fight that me and Green already had an argument about back then, way back in the days when we were predicting when Green did a podcast on the Beta Bounty. The bot that we chose to be the bounty hunter, I didn't, Green did. The bot that was chosen to be the bounty hunter was Hijinks. I did not predict Hijinks to beat Lockjaw. I just want to say that.
Civilian was hijinks, dude.
But you did predict Fusion to beat Lockjaw, though.
No, I fucking did not. I predicted Lockjaw to beat Fusion.
I checked the podcast.
No, you didn't. No, you did not.
Welcome back, Spin.
But yeah, when me and Green were debating about this.
Yeah, I was not that one.
When me and Green were debating about this actually came to a tie. 1 vote for Hijinks, which was from Green. 1 vote from Beto, which was for me. We tie-breaked it up with a coin tosser, and it turned out that Beto won that fight. So we will...
Wait, hold on. I voted Hijinks. I sent you my bracket.
Yeah, you did.
Well,
I'm talking about the history. I'm talking about the history of the me and Green rivalry between Hijinks and Beta.
Basically, I did a podcast predicting the Beta Bounty, which Civilian was the only co-host for that one. the finals that we got to were Beta versus Hijinks, and Beta won it on a coin flip.
Yeah, so
There at the
call
end,
this
tie.
the
I mean,
actual tiebreaker, if you will. So, what do you guys got for this?
this is
Can I go?
yeah, this is close enough. Like
Yeah, Pory,
I get what both of you are saying.
Let's let
Oh
Pory
yeah,
go.
I mean,
let's have Pory go.
Okay. I'm the biggest non-believer of Beta that exists, but in what universe does Hijinks beat Beta? Beta has like the ultimate horizontal wedge. Like, let's be real here. Like, yeah, they're gonna be wusses about using that hammer, but like, they're gonna push Hijinks into freaking corners and stuff, and it might be a controversial thing, like with Rotator, but like, Beta sweeps the floor with this, no question. Thank you. Next.
I have to say, Pory, like the thing about hijinks, if it was just a regular generic undercutter, I mean, makes sense. I would say Beta dominated, sweeps the fight. The main thing about hijinks is its wedge. It's kind of tail wedged thing, which has shown to be pretty low in the past. It's got underneath Claw Viper, it's got underneath Slammo, and actually allowed it to do some damage to the underside of Slammo. It has shown to be pretty effective in the past. So I can see an argument for hijinks here.
Can
but
I just-
as Pory said, let me just finish this one
Okay,
point.
yeah,
Beta is the anti-horizontal wedge. Like, forget about Brutus. This is the anti-horizontal wedge in the entire season. It is the perfect counter to every single horizontal there could be. And hijinks is a horizontal, and its tail wedge. If it was bigger, then I can definitely see this going to hijinks. But it's pretty small, and hijinks was pretty unreliable as well, especially in the Claw Viper fight. And they fixed it later on, sure, but it was still pretty unreliable. Even later on, like even the bounties, it was absolutely incapacitated and it got flipped over. And with how Beta is driven with its wedge angle, it can definitely flip over hijinks here. And if it does flip over hijinks, this entire battle is over. And so again, I can see hijinks winning this, like getting underneath Beta, doing some damage to his underside, maybe sniping wheels and stuff. But Beta's pretty well driven as well. John Reed is an excellent driver. Maybe not elite level, but he's a really good driver too. So I doubt hijinks can consistently get underneath Beta with a wedge. Beta's probably just gonna get to the sides consistently, or even go head on head, get underneath hijinks and just throw it all over the arena, and eventually break the weapon, maybe and flip it over. And then Beta can definitely do some serious damage with its weapon. It didn't get a chance to do so because Rotator's weapon never stopped. But Hijinks' weapon is probably going to stop. It's not nearly as reliable. So once it does, Beta can get some massive hits on top. So I don't even think it's going to be that controversial. Beta, I wouldn't say Beta sweeps this fight because of Hijinks' edge. But I would say Beta overwhelmingly wins, like 80 to 20%.
Yeah, I mean, with this thing, I feel like you have a point with the wedge, but also I would definitely say John Reed is leagues better of a driver than Kevin Milcheski and
Kevin
Craig
Milcheski
Danby.
doesn't have.
But Craig Danby's up there. But
oh wait, I see what you're saying.
I mean, I'm saying John Reed is like, he's a good ass driver, like when it comes to just driving the robot around, and I don't think he would give hijinks a chance to do the wedge. And also, I'm shocked. Oblivion and I agree on 2 fights so far. That's like a record. Shout out to Oblivion.
He just fucking ditched you. He just fucking ditched you.
He's like, crap. We agree.
Yeah, I'm guessing that Oblivion had to go do school because he said he wasn't going to be here for the full podcast. So, yeah. I'm guessing Oblivion's vote is on fucking Beta, though. So, Green, Spin, which one of you guys want to go next?
You can go first if you want, Spin.
Is Spin there?
Hi, Spin.
Did Spin fuck off too?
Okay, I'll just go then. Alright, here, I'll go then. So, my take is definitely going to be different from Pory's. I'm actually going to go hijinks with this one, as I did, like, in the bounty thing. How I think this is going to go is... Well, what I should first say is, like, hijinks... I disagree with when Oblivion mentioned that he thinks Hijinks' weapon is eventually going to stop. I disagree with that comment because I think Hijinks is way more likely to lose part of their drive than their weapon or anything like that. Because Hijinks' weapon did not stop spinning in any of their fights from that season. So what I think is going to happen here, I think Hijinks is going to go with one of their shorter bars for this one, so that way they could go for they're going to go with a faster spin up, and some of the time try to lead with the back wedge and stuff, so that way Beta can maybe climb on it, and potentially get some good control points out of that, and potentially get a good opportunity to hit
Oh,
Beta
Oblivion's
on
back.
like the backside or something like that. So how I think this overall fight is going to go, I think it's going to be a controversial judge's decision, but I'm gonna say for hijinks and this time and stuff, because how I think this fight is gonna go is Beta is just gonna charge right in there, try to box rush hijinks, and then hopefully try to hit it with the hammer. But the one problem compare is like John Reed is not going to fire his hammer into a hijinks like fully spun up weapon, because while hijinks does have some nice areas on top for Beta to hit and stuff, if he misfires and stuff, he could just fire it right into the weapon, and it could be a similar repeat to Beta versus Rotator. And so I think there's probably gonna be limited use with that hammer and stuff, and I think Hijinks will be able to get the damage points and even the control points needed to win it by a very close but controversial judge's decision here.
Okay. Oblivion fucked off again. That's cool. We haven't heard from Spin at all, so I'm just gonna say what Spin's vote was. He actually voted for hijinks for some fucking reason. I don't know.
Heck yeah.
But here's my opinion. I have a counter to almost everything that was just said. Okay. First of all, hijinks's weapon, while is reliable, I will give you that. Hijinks, if anything, at least disregarding the Claw Viper fight because it fucking got trolled in that one. Hijinks is a fairly reliable bot. It can handle getting pushed around. It can handle some shots. Spins back. Is spin back or is spin back? Spin.
The latter.
Okay.
Spin.
Hi, Spin. Okay, Spin.
I think I'm back.
Yeah, give
I
us
hope
your
I
take
am.
on hijinks versus Beta.
I think Hijinks tail is actually pretty effective at ground game. Beta doesn't really hammer in the middle of the arena. They like to push their opponents to the edge. I think Beta's gonna be super confident in their wedging and horizontal abilities that they will not hammer in the middle of the arena like they did as like a last ditch attempt in the Lockjaw and Ribot fight. Even then, they didn't really capitalize when they were pushing. When they Beta was squared up with Lockjaw, and they did not capitalize on that. They really wanted to push to the side. That did not work. I think what's going to happen is Ribot's going to tail, and Beta's not going to try. They're not going to fire its hammer. I think Hijinks is going to flip around and get to the side of Beta. I do think that Hijinks is going to take this eventually.
All right. Okay, so as I was saying, I do think hijinks is a fairly reliable robot, at least disregarding the Claw Viper fight. Disregarding the Claw Viper fight.
The Slimo fight.
Yeah.
God damn it.
But here's the thing that Green and Spin, well, they probably know, but they probably didn't take it into consideration. The reason Beta doesn't fire its hammer that much is because of the magnets. So
Yeah.
Beta has to be fully non-moving. It has to be square. It can't move at all to fire its hammer. And that's one of the main reasons it doesn't fire its hammer that much. The other reason, it's a pussy. Yeah, John Reed's a pussy. And this will help him win this fight. John Reed will not fire his weapon at a spinning.
This opinion is not endorsed by the one and only Pory Nog.
John Reed will not fire his weapon into a spinning weapon ever. And this is where I think the tables will turn for Beta. Hijinks has the reach advantage with its spinner, but I feel like that'll be a detriment to Hijinks, as I feel like Beta will probably just scoop up and jam up that blade as soon as possible for Hijinks. And once that happens, Beta will be free to fire away, because once it gets Hijinks to a wall, then Hijinx's blade will be jammed, at least for when it's got Hijinx up to the wall. So I think that Beta will not fire its hammer unless Hijinx is like jammed up to the wall. I think we can all agree that Beta will never do that.
Yeah. I feel like hijinks it could definitely pin down. Like it's not as slippery as rotator or something, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. And Hijinx, even if it does get a few shots, it's nowhere near as destructive as Rotator. If Rotator got under it a lot, then Rotator could fuck up Beta's underbelly, like, a ton. Because Rotator's, like, top 15 destructive bots of the season, probably. But Hijinx, I don't even think Hijinx is top 20, top 25. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Beta on this one. That's a 3-2 decision for Beta. So, yeah. And now we got the battle between Back Off and whatever Martin Mason quote we want to throw in there.
We're gonna be cooking frog legs.
Yeah, sure. We got Back
and
Off.
this man.
We got Back Off versus we're gonna be cooking frog legs. So Back Off had a 2-1 record, beat Pain Train, and then beat who did it beat? War Easy? I think
It beat War Easy, yes.
Yeah. Its second win was against War Easy, and then Slammo. For some reason, its third matchup was fucking Witch Doctor. Don't know how we got that.
Favoritism. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sick.
Don't know how the fuck we got that shit. Slammo was actually holding its own, so props to Craig Danby for actually holding his own in that fight, even though it got killed by favoritism. So, yeah. Slammo 2-1 bot. Mad Catter got a huge ass glow up this season. Slammo got a mini glow up. Mad Catter got a full on fucking glitter bomb glow up going on. Mad Catter got a 3-0 record, taking out Fusion, Pory's the 2021 top 32 bot, Ribot.
Oh, they're going all the way.
Yeah, okay. And it also beat a fucking terrible fight in Malice, but whatever. So
a third fight.
So yeah, what are your guys' opinions on Mad Catter versus Slammo while I go and find Oblivion's opinion on this, because just in case there's a tie.
Okay, first and foremost, I'm sorry, Craig Danby. I love you and your robots, but Mad Catter sweeps the floor with you. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. I think Mad Catter would definitely go with the vertical spinner for a fight like this, and while I do think Slammo will last a little while in the fight, I think Mad Catter is gonna get the knockout in like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spin yeeted himself out of here, so that's fun.
We'll talk about Oblivion meanwhile while we wait for Spin if he comes back.
Yeah. What I think will happen in this fight is I actually think Slammo will get under Mad Catter at first, because Slammo actually does have some decent ground game. It got under Black Dragon in the first few seconds of the fight. And so, yeah, I do think Slammo will start out strong like it did against Black Dragon and Witch Doctor. But I think just by how destructive Mad Catter's weapon is, Mad Catter's weapon was really destructive going into the bounties. And so I do think Mad Catter does have a ton of, like, very destructive weapon, which I don't think Slammo has that big of a counter for, because Black Dragon is a pretty mid-tier weapon, and Slammo couldn't even survive it that much. So I'm going to go with Mad Catter for this one. Oblivion also went for Mad Catter, and Spin ain't here yet, but his opinion for this was Mad Catter, unless someone makes a decent case for Slammo, in which he would vote for Slammo, but no one made a decent case for Slammo, so he's going Mad Catter. So, full 5-vote sweep for Mad Catter.
I just want to say that Craig Danby, you are not a dick.
It's true. And Craig Bambi's always been very nice to me.
Alright.
Oh yeah.
So, we got our first fight of the right side of the bracket between Gruff and Fusion. Gruff, a part of some of the most pathetic fights ever this season, taking on being in at least the top 5 worst main events of all time between Gruff and Hypershock. It was in a decent main event between Whiplash, I'll give him that. And then fucking do Extinguisher, great job. Also, Gruff versus Bloodsport is the worst postseason fight of 2020. And Gruff's opponent is Fusion, who had a 2-1 record, but not great wins, as those were probably against like top 10 worst spots of the season. Beat Aegis and actually, I wouldn't say War Easy is top 10 worst.
War Easy wasn't bad. It had some design flaws, but for a new team, they were pretty good.
I wouldn't say War Easy is top 10 worst, actually. I take that back. Fusion also getting a loss to Mad Catter. So, yeah, that's cool. So, what are your guys' thoughts on this one?
The question I have here is, which is going to happen first? Is Gruff going to lose Drive first? Or is Fusion going to have another meltdown first?
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, these two... Yeah, this is kind of...
The big question is, which one is going to happen first? And whoever wins the race in terms of that issue is going to be the loser of this fight. I personally have a little more faith in Gruff because they proved that they could at least show control of movement even with one side of Drive, at least in the Bloodsport fight, even though it is possible that they might have needed to be counted out in that just because Battlebots was so inconsistent when it came to stuff like that. But
yeah,
I'm probably going to give Gruff a slight edge in this one, but it's pretty close in my opinion. We could definitely see Fusion coming out on top in this one.
Yeah, the problem with a fight like this is that these two are probably the two most unreliable bots in this bracket, except for, like, maybe Hypershock, but that's about it. So, I mean, it's a very tough fight to call, so, Pory, what do you got? Is Spin?
I don't know. I mean...
Okay. Final attempt. This doesn't work out.
Alright, yeah, we can hear you fine.
I can hear you. Hi, Spin.
Alright.
We're at Gruff and Fusion right now.
Gruff and Fusion, I don't know. It's... Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a really hard... Because one of two things could happen. But I'm gonna say probably Fusion. Just because, like, you know, I'm sure it'll wind up being like a double KO, and then, like, you know, it comes down to damage, and Fusion sweeps that. So yeah, Fusion.
Spin, what's your opinion on this fight?
I think Fusion is more unreliable. I think Gruff is gonna be able to tank hits. He's gonna outdrive Fusion. Even if Fusion goes vert first instead of like horizontal or whatever, I still think it's gonna be able to control Fusion with its own forks and just control and win that way until Fusion breaks down inevitably.
So you're going with Gruff?
Yes, Gruff.
Okay, so here's my opinion on this. Both bots are insanely unreliable. But here's the thing. Fusion at least has an excuse. Fusion at least has... And Fusion's consistent is another thing. Yeah, it's fought in some shitty robots. It's fought in an F tier. It's fought in a D tier. But if there's one thing that you can count Fusion on being, is destruction. Fusion was definitely at least top 15 most destructive. Probably top 10. At least in my opinion. So, yeah. And thing about Gruff is you never know when it's gonna piss its drive system. As, for example, it had Bloodsport on the ropes. And Gruff pissed itself. Not even when the first hit collided, because Gruff was... I think Gruff still had full control of itself when Bloodsport lost that first bar, I'm pretty sure. and it just random. Unless I'm wrong, someone please correct me if I'm wrong. But like, I think Gruff had full control over itself when Bloodsport lost that first bar.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was like it wasn't too long after Bloodsport's bar split, but yeah, Gruff did have full drive up until I'd say probably. If I take a guess, I might need to rewatch the fight, but I think it was like 45 seconds to a minute into the fight or something like that. I could quick check.
Yeah.
So
So I'm gonna go with Fusion for this one. I feel like both bots will take some damage. I think that Gruff is actually gonna have a good box rush at the start of this, but I feel like Fusion will get some good shots in. So we have a tie, 2-2, which means we go to Oblivion, who sent me his bracket. So this is who he decided to vote for. Drum roll, please. Okay, no drum roll. That's cool. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oblivion has went with Gruff for this one.
No,
Yay.
it's fair. I mean, I don't. It's not. You could have made it a coin flip, to be honest.
Coin flips are gay. So, yeah. Gruff goes into the quarterfinals where it will take on the winner of, I think, two of the most improved bots of the season. I don't think they're the top two most improved, but they're definitely two of the most improved bots of the season, as you got Scorpios and Kraken. Both bots have had great fights in the in the fight night format, as Kraken has a 1-2 had a 1-2 record. It had two from it, and all three of its fights were very impressive. As while Kraken did lose to Huge, it did very impressive against Huge. Kraken even beat Witch Doctor, which is cool to see. And in my opinion, the Kraken Black Dragon call was bullshit. So I think it should be a 2-1 decision. But I'm not as pissed as some of the other calls BattleBots have made in the past. I can see an argument for Black Dragon, so I'm not insanely upset as compared to something like, say, Copperhead versus Mammoth. So, yeah, and we have Scorpios, who kind of had a big bounce back in the season, as it took a loss to. Also, I just realized all three of its fights were black and red spinners.
Black and red horizontal spinners.
Exactly. So, yeah. Scorpio's first loss to Bloodsport in a very destructive fight. I honestly love that fight.
It's a good one.
But then it came back, took out, Scorpios took out Perfect Phoenix, and then Scorpios took out Tombstone in my opinion, the best main event, at least for this season, of this season of 2020 at the best.
interesting take, because I'd say Kraken and Witch Doctor was way better than that fight.
That's also up there too, but
it was a good fight. You are definitely right about that.
So Scorpios did, as quoted by Pory, Scorpios beat up a kid. The kid cried to his daddy, and the dad went to Scorpios to beat him up, but then Scorpios beat the dad up.
Basically.
Yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on this fight? As this should be a clash of the drivers here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Scorpios takes this without question. I don't even think there's really much room for argument here. It's going to be.
I have an argument.
It's going to be a less flashy.
I have an argument.
It's going to be a less flashy Sawblaze versus just Kraken, pretty much.
Counter.
Go ahead.
Counter. I have an argument, so you can't say that.
Okay. And so make your argument. Your podcast. I'm not stopping you.
I'll make my argument. Okay, so here's my argument. While I do think Zach Lytle is a slightly better driver than Kraken, I don't think it's by that much, as Matsberg really proved himself to be a great driver this season. And look at the design between Kraken and Scorpios. You see the opening between the two forks of Scorpios and that mouth of Kraken? That looks pretty similar to an opening Kraken had against the 2019 runner-up, if I do say so myself. As well as Scorpios does not have a very potent weapon, in my opinion.
It's a decent weapon.
When it comes to Scorpios, the main thing about it is the durability and the driving. But Scorpios does not have that great of a weapon. I don't think Scorpios will
It's
take
got a good enough weapon, I think. I mean, because I mean, it didn't beat Witch Doctor because Witch Doctor had an opening in the middle. It beat Witch Doctor because Witch Doctor had hardened their blades too much and it broke. Like if Witch Doctor had a fully working weapon, it would have like killed Kraken.
Yeah, but I still think that should be brought into as a factor in this fight, as Kraken did get a few bites because of that, and Scorpios does not have a destructive blade, as I already said, which I think will be the downfall for Scorpios here. As while I think Scorpios is attempting to swing away with its saw, I think Kraken will get a ton of great bites and control the bout. So I'm gonna go with Kraken here. So green spin. What do you guys got?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Spin.
So even if Kraken gets a bite on Scorpios, he will be eating the wedge. Matt Spurk has said on I think multiple podcasts, particularly behind the bots, their weakness is overheads. Kraken is not well armored on their head. I don't think they're gonna take hits as well. Even though Scorpios' weapon is not very good or it's not as good as other saws, I do think their weapon is good enough to deal damage to Kraken's head. Also, in terms of drive, I think they're comparable. I think Zach Lytle did say that drive was one of the most important things with Scorpios, and I do think they're gonna get out controlled. But they just take the whole damage category. Like, there's not much Kraken can do. Scorpios can contest drive enough that they can't do much to push him around the arena. Aggression, I think that's gonna be split. And then damage is gonna lean so heavily towards Scorpios.
All right.
Zaza's probably not going to be happy with me, but I am
Sorry,
also
Zaza.
going with Scorpios on this one.
Does Zaza
And
think
so,
that?
what? Well, Zaza likes Kraken.
He's a huge Kraken fan. Even though Robot's gonna destroy Kraken if we fight again.
I do support Civilian's argument that Kraken would be able to win the ground game and stuff, because Kraken does have a very nice front that could definitely go right up the middle. But one of the design things that Scorpios has that I think they would use in this one is even if someone gets underneath them, Scorpios can still strike at them with that saw. And like what Spin said, Kraken isn't the most best armored up top. Like Scorpios would definitely do a lot less damage than what Huge and Sawblaze were able to do to the top of Kraken, even Witch Doctor too. But I think Scorpios will definitely get the damage points they need to win this fight by a judge's decision and stuff. So yeah, my vote will be Scorpios.
So yeah, Scorpios wins by 3-1 call. I don't need to check what Oblivion voted for, even though I'm pretty sure he voted Scorpios for this one. So yeah. Okay, so next fight we got the bot that should have beat Mammoth we got the bot I predicted to be the 2020 champ versus the bot I predict to be the 2021 champ. Copperhead and Lockjaw. Copperhead had a shut up, Pory. Mr. I can't beat Mr. I can't beat fucking Mr. I can't beat Black Dragon at all.
We will beat Black Dragon, don't you wait.
You know what I just realized?
What did he realize?
My third round pick took out Civilian's first and second round pick of this draft for this season.
Good for you. So, Copperhead had a huge glow up in this season, getting a 3-0 record and putting out some banger shots out there. De-shelling Gigabyte, putting some big shots on P1, throwing Black Dragon around. And then we have Lockjaw, a 2-1 bot who had some decent performances. Took out Captain Shredderator, took out Big Dick, and lost to Jackpot? Yeah, Jackpot. So
lost to Jackpot in what was a banger fight.
That was a good one.
And I don't think it was that great.
It was a good fight.
It was awesome.
Both bots had no weapon by the end of the fight. Like half the fight was just a pushing battle.
Not even half of it, because Jackpot was hammered Lockjaw for most of that with their
That was a
spinner.
slugfest for a while. It was a good
Oh
fight.
yeah.
But plus, I like fights that are more like back and forth, and Lockjaw versus Jackpot was not back and forth. So
I disagree.
That's
It
more
kind of
PG.
was.
Keep going.
No, it was not. Jackpot sniped Lockjaw's weapon.
Keep going, you favela.
Okay. All right. What are your guys' opinions on this fight?
Shit.
Okay, so this fight is going to come down to who wins the ground game between these two robots. And if I took a guess, I'm going to predict Copperhead for that one, who would win the ground game. But of course, don't want to count out Donald Hudson's driving because it's really good. The other thing I got to consider is both of these robots have had quite a few reliability problems. Because, yeah, Lockjaw went up in smoke in the Big Dill fight, and they lost their weapon early in the Captain Shredderator fight, and their motors went up in smoke at the end of the Jackpot fight, which was a better fight than what civilians said. And yes, Lockjaw did have some control moments where they did get to the sides of Jackpot a few times
Yeah,
before
everyone.
taking a hit from their vertical spinner.
Yeah.
And then Copperhead has also had a fair share of reliability problems too, because like they weren't driving well for like 3/4 of the Gigabyte fight. Like pretty much after that first hit, like Copperhead was having struggles moving across the arena. And on the Black Dragon fight, they lost drive on one side at the very near the end of the fight, and then they were having weapon issues in the fight with Mammoth, even though it technically hadn't happened in this situation. But I personally trust Copperhead with their reliability at this point a little more than Lockjaw, so my vote's going to go to Copperhead for this one.
Pory Spin, what do you guys got?
Ben can go first. I don't know.
Can Pory go first?
All right, I'll go first. Lockjaw wins. Because I mean, Copperhead couldn't even keep its weapon spinning against Mammoth, and Lockjaw got its butt kicked by Shatter, but like the bounty showed they definitely clocked it in at that point. So like I feel like
I just want to bring something up. I'm pretty sure that they brought like a new motor for their weapon at that point for the bounties.
Okay, well it was whatever it was. It was much better.
Yeah, but they brought it into the bounties, not the postseason.
Still, Copperhead lost to a rotary lifter, so yeah, I'm gonna probably go.
Lockjaw lost,
Lockjaw.
and Lockjaw couldn't take out a rotary lifter. Wait, Big Deal wasn't even
If Lockjaw fought Mammoth, it would beat the crap out of it. Let's be real here.
Maybe 2021, but I'd actually go Mammoth for that one if I'm being honest.
No shot. It'd be like
if we're talking Fight Night, Mammoth would fuck Lockjaw because Lockjaw had a terrible weapon in Fight Night. It did not do.
Wasn't that bad?
It did not have a single like great moment. 2019 Lockjaw was.
It had some good moments on Jackpot.
Is his weapon by Big Dill?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so you're going Lockjaw, Pory?
Yeah, Lockjaw. I mean, Copperhead wasn't nearly reliable enough, unfortunately. As much as I was leaning on Copperhead, I thought about it, and I'm gonna go Lockjaw.
So, Spin, what do you got?
I think I'm gonna go Lockjaw. I think its forks are lower to the ground. I do think it's better driven, but this is a super close fight. I don't know what to think. I'm just leaning Lockjaw today. I might change it in like 10 minutes.
All right, so here's my opinion on this. Lockjaw does have. I feel like this fight will come down to who has more advantages over the other. While I feel like Lockjaw is a better driver, and Donald Hudson does have more experience, I feel like Copperhead has the advantage in everything else at this point. Copperhead is probably more durable, more reliable, and way more destructive than Lockjaw
Not
is.
more reliable.
Its weapon went out for like the entirety of the mammoth fight.
Yeah.
Lockjaw's weapon went out for like 3/5 of the Big Dill fight, and Mammoth is much better than Big Dill.
Big Dill would beat Mammoth, I think.
Okay, Pory, okay.
It would. Okay, Spin,
No, I
who do you think would
disagree
win?
with that one.
Who
No,
do you
you're
think
wrong.
Green,
I
who do you
think
think
Mammoth would beat Big Dill.
Big Dill would beat the crap out of Mammoth. Do you not see their Orlando Maker Fair performance as Banana Run? They were busting, dude. They were great. And I feel like if they fought Mammoth, it would be like just them like sweeping the floor, throwing Mammoth around. I mean, they're so low to the ground, Mammoth can't even really get under them, you know?
Pory, it's taken you a while to say what you just said was a joke. I'm getting a bit worried here.
Oh, it's a valiant arc. I don't know anything about robots. Yeah, okay. Listen, buddy. I'm just saying that if Big Dill and Mammoth fought, Big Dill would win. No question. No cap.
Yeah. You know what you also predicted, Pory? Want to know what you also predicted?
What?
You predicted
What?
Sawblaze to beat Tantrum.
Yeah, if they fought again, Sawblaze would beat Tantrum. Jameson Go was just driving sloppily.
Whatever. We got a 2-2 call for this fight, which means it goes to Oblivion's bracket. And Oblivion has decided to go for, drumroll please, shout out to Oblivion, he went Copperhead.
Yeah,
Well,
that
he's
makes
wrong.
sense.
RA2 after this between Copperhead and Lockjaw.
Bet. Alright, so Lockjaw has won. I mean, not Lockjaw, fuck.
Yeah, Lockjaw wins. Okay, good. Moving on.
So Copperhead wins as it should. And now we got a fight between Perfect P and Jackpot. Perfect P has a 2-1 record. Took out Extinguisher and took out Adam 94. It got a loss to Scorpios, but don't hold that against them. Jackpot had a big glow up this year. Took out Sub-Zero in a pretty lame fight.
How do you have a big glow up your rookie year?
I don't want to hear it, okay? I don't want to hear it. Jackpot got a big rookie year. There, you happy that I said that now, Pory?
Yes.
Mr. Me.
I'm saying words wrong.
Jackpot took out Sub-Zero in a very bad fight, but Jackpot then had two decent performances. Took out Ghost Raptor in a very destructive performance.
Decent.
Well, Ghost Raptor was great. Lockjaw was just
Ghost Raptor was a good ass win, and Lockjaw was a pretty good one too.
Lockjaw was okay.
It's a good fight.
So yeah, Jackpot, big rookie year. What do you guys got for this matchup?
Jackpot wins this with ease, honestly.
Yeah, this is kind of my words, but Jackpot had a glow up, but from fight to fight to fight.
That's true.
That's what I was
That's
thinking.
true.
Let's go,
Was
Pory.
not very.
Green.
Sub-Zero was definitely not a very good win because Jackpot was constantly having either drive issues or weapon issues or both. Then they came into Ghost Raptor, where the drive was definitely not perfect because they were having struggles at times in that one, but the weapons worked very well. They were driving a bit better than they were in the Sub-Zero fight to get what was an awesome victory. Then came into the Lockjaw fight. The drive was so much better, and they got an awesome win against Lockjaw. And so, in terms of this one, like Perfect Phoenix was definitely not the most reliable in terms of their weapon, but that's kind of the same thing with Jackpot too, because Jackpot did lose their weapon eventually in the Lockjaw fight. But I think Jackpot's gonna win this one, probably not too much trouble, because Jackpot did have some really good ground game, especially in like the even in the Lockjaw fight where they were going for reach and stuff just to try to go for the weapon area and stuff. But yeah, I think Jackpot's gonna get this one by a knockout. Shout
Spin,
out
what
to
do you got?
Jackpot, who's awesome.
Spin, what do you
Yeah.
got?
Yeah, I'm just gonna agree with everyone and say Jackpot takes this by knockout. I mean, but they have a powerful weapon that would be able to KO Perfect Phoenix. But what I think is more likely is that they're just gonna flip Perfect Phoenix in like 2 hits.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm
Yeah.
at too. I don't think this will be a glorious kill fest, but I do think Jackpot will kind of just two-shot or even
Yeah, it's
one-shot
kind of
Perfect
like
Phoenix.
one of those things. I
Yeah,
think it's one of those things where it's just like it's a good enough win.
yeah, like Lockjaw. So, yeah, we got our final 8 here. We got Malice, we got Beta, we got all the we got all the 4 of the 3-0 bots here, and ironically enough, they're all at the bottom half of the bracket. So we got 3-0 Beta, 3-0 Mad Catter, 3-0 Jackpot, 3-0 Copperhead, 2-1 Scorpios, 1-2 Gruff, 2-1 Malice, and the 2019 champ of BattleBots What If, Huge. So let's start this off with Huge versus Malice. We'll see if the champ can defend its title against Malice. This fight did take place in the bounties. And you can use this for reference, but you can't automatically say that Malice wins just because it beat Huge in that fight, is what I'm gonna decide on that. You can use
Sure.
yeah. You can use Malice's driving from the Huge fight into reference, but you can't like automatically just say, yeah, I think Malice will win because they won. Okay, so what do you guys got on this fight?
I think Malice is well driven. It's aggressive. I think it's also got a great drivetrain. It's gonna push Huge around. I think its weapon is gonna tank Huge hits well. I'm not sure about the rest of it, but in terms of driving, I say Malice has got this. You know?
Yeah, shout out to Malice, where that fight with Huge was probably their best driving performance by quite a bit and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
in the bounties. I think their Malice's strategy would almost certainly be the same, and I'm wondering what the heck that is that Pory's got on. But
What the fuck is that?
one thing that Malice did do when those two fought the first time was like expose that where they and Whiplash both exposed a big weakness on Huge, where Huge is actually pretty hard to control and stuff when they lose those back legs. And Huge lost one of them when they fought Malice the first time, and they lost at least one of them when they fought Whiplash that season too. And yeah, I think that could be the deciding factor. Could Malice get to those once again? Like, I do think Malice is going to go with the same weapon and the armor setup, where they're going to go with Purple Pain for it. But I think Malice would win this fight again, and I bet it will be by judge's decision once again.
Corey, what do you got?
Malice is neat, so it will win.
Yeah. I mean, Malice did beat Huge, so I'm just gonna go Malice for this one.
You said you can't use that.
Yeah, that's breaking your own rules.
Wow, hold on.
Exposed.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that.
Favela arc.
Okay, but I'll actually put in my take. I think Huge is at the point now where, and I do want to bring this up. I think Huge is at the point now where people are figuring out the formula to take out Huge, and I think Malice just showed that in flying colors, and Malice will show it again because Malice, what you really need to do to be Huge is you just need a decent enough weapon and kick-ass driving. That's all you need. Matt Vasquez showed that in the 2020 fight. 2019 he also did decent, but not as well as 2020.
2020 was really good.
Yeah, 2020 was fantastic. 2019 was just eh. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Malice for this one as the first bot of the top 4 in this bracket goes. And the champ is now done, so we will have a new champ once again. So
It's the robot who's gonna beat Endgame this season.
now, Spin, who do you think will win between Malice and Endgame?
Endgame will tear up Big Red.
Wow.
Endgame, Matt, bro, Spin knows what he's talking about. All right, so
Spin ain't miss.
Endgame's a
Spin
glass
ain't
cannon
missing.
is the
Spin
thing.
ain't miss. So is Malice, though. Let's be real here.
Yeah, they threw up their chains in like 3 different
They threw up
fights,
their
or
chain
belts,
against
whatever.
Tracer of all bots.
Yeah, Tracer exists.
Because Tracer's a bad bot, though.
Yes, it
Tracer's
is.
not that bad.
Tracer's like at least 4 tiers lower than Endgame, though.
Tracer is a vert that managed to lose to 3 horizontal spinners, man.
By getting flipped
So?
on its side.
Well, only 2 of them for that.
Yeah, but that's just like, and Tracer is like a C minus bot, and Endgame was like a plus bot at that season.
I wouldn't even say C-. I mean, its only win was to freaking Baleспhere, dude.
That's true. I'd still say, yeah, I'll go D plus. Actually, that's true. So yeah, I think Endgame would fuck up Malice. Sorry, Bunny.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got our first 3-0 versus 3-0 matchup. We got John Reed and Beta versus who's the guy that has Mad Catter?
Martin Mason.
Yeah, we got Martin
Mason,
Mason and
the
Mad
guy who
Catter.
cooked up a bunch of frog legs during that regular
No.
season.
I want my rematch, man.
Yeah, so these were the 2 lowest seeded 3-0s, and I feel like Beta was a bit overseeded for this, and Mad Catter was a bit underseeded for this. So this is a bit interesting. So yeah, what do you guys think will happen in this fight?
Mad Catter gets under and just tosses Beta around. Beta can't countervert.
Hear
Because
me out.
Beta's probably going to use that stupid flat front too. If we're being real here.
Wait, I
Hear
think
me
I know
out
where
here.
Green's gonna go with this. I think I know where
Hear
Green's
me
gonna
out.
go with. Go ahead, Green.
I think Mad Catter would go with the hammer configuration.
Yes,
for
I knew
this
you were gonna
fight.
go there.
Because Beta's got so many highly exposed areas on top. Like, Beta is well designed to take on, like, a horizontal spinner, but not exactly with a hammer and stuff. Because, like, if Mad Catter lands the perfect shot, they could disable Beta's hammer and potentially destroy some of their internals and stuff. And I think I think that'll be like, I think if these 2 fought and if Mad Catter actually went through with that and came out with their hammer configuration, I think they'd be able to pull it off and pull off a pretty good victory by a hammer bot and stuff.
Yeah, I
Beta
think.
just doesn't have forks. It can't win the ground game.
Yeah, I think.
It's your
However,
own fault.
Pory, what do you got? Did you? You went.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to use that stupid flat front, and Mad Catter's just going to annihilate. It's going to be like the Ribot fight, but not as good because Mad Catter's not going to win the 2021 season.
All right, so
Well, I mean, neither is Ribot.
yeah,
Ribot's going to win. Look here, mister. I don't want to hear it. Ribot's going to take out everyone. They're going to take out Endgame. They're going to take out Gigabyte. They're going to take out Bike Force for some reason. They're going to take out everyone.
But not Rusty.
They're going to take out Rusty. They're going to take out Black Dragon. They're going to take out Lockjaw.
No,
all the way.
no shot. Okay, so here's my opinion. I think whatever configuration Mad Catter goes with, Mad Catter will probably win. But with the spinner, I think Mad Catter is an easy win. Hammer configuration, not so much, because we don't really know how good that hammer is.
His hammer's pretty good.
We haven't seen a single shot from its hammer since 2019, though. Since Mad Catter's a fucking pussy against Malice.
Oh, I got a bad third fight! Oh no!
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Mad Catter from each configuration, but I think the only reason Mad Catter would win with its hammer configuration is because John Reed wouldn't fire the hammer at all. So yeah, that's like the only reason I'd say Mad Catter win with the hammer. So yeah, Mad Catter moves on. Oh god, okay. So next fight we got Gruff versus Scorpios, and this might be the lamest fight ever if Gruff isn't working correctly. So what are your guys' opinions on this fight?
I'm gonna say Scorpios with this one because like
Yeah.
Scorpios is the more capable robot doing damage and a bit more reliable and durable than Gruff. Like I don't want to count out Gruff because we could see them be free of drive issues like how they were like even in the Whiplash fight because yeah, they had drive going for at least 75% of the fight perfectly and yeah, yeah, but I think Scorpios is definitely a bit more capable of doing damage compared to Gruff, because Gruff's really big hope of doing damage is hoping to torch Scorpios. And while it did do that with like Kraken and Gemini, I don't want to count on that exactly. So yeah, I think that's gonna be my take on this one.
Pory Spin, what do you guys got?
I'm gonna probably go Scorpios. I mean, I don't see a universe where Gruff wins this fight.
Spin, what you got?
I mean, I'm also going Scorpios. It's more reliable. It's gonna be able to get around to the side and actually do damage. However, I wouldn't count Gruff out because its forks are pretty effective at taking control, and it does drive well. Well, it drives. It's driven well. I mean, drive well. I'm not sure about that, but I just think it's gonna take it, but not as overwhelmingly as you guys would say.
I feel like at the beginning of this fight, Gruff will have the advantage, getting a decent box rush on Scorpios and driving it all around the place. Here's the issue, though. Gruff is not reliable. This is the problem. If Gruff was more reliable, I'd actually go Gruff for this one, but it's not. And
Yeah,
so I feel like Gruff will just die. I have a hot take. Free shipping can beat Scorpios.
free shipping to beat Scorpios.
Yes.
I see it.
They if they drove it really well, Gary Jin could drive. Yeah, yes.
So yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
Scorpio.
I'll agree with that.
So I'm gonna go Scorpios for this one just because of Gruff not being reliable enough. So yeah, Scorpios going into it, the final four, where we'll take on the winner of the final 3-0 versus 3-0 batch, at least for now, So we got Copperhead versus Jackpot. These two were the most middle seeded, as Copperhead was seeded third of all the 6 3-0 bots, and Jackpot was seeded fourth of all the 3-0 bots. So yeah, both bots pretty destructive. Should be a fun one. What do you guys think would happen in this one?
I think or not Copperhead, Jackpot's probably gonna have a similar strategy for this one that they did with Lockjaw. Try to win the first hit and see if they can take out the weapon. Because Jackpot's strategy is basically go for that like tiny narrow spot where Lockjaw's weapon belt was, and they were able to hit that. I think that's gonna be a bit harder with Copperhead because
Yeah,
Copperhead doesn't have like the same like small like spinner design
and
that
plus
Lockjaw has. So
Copperhead Spinner is a
Jackpot's
lot
drop
more wider.
Jackpot's driving is gonna need to be like more on point in this one compared to the two, but I honestly have belief in Jackpot for this one. And while neither of them were exactly the most reliable and stuff, I trust Jackpot a little more. And I think Jackpot could pull off this upset and stuff. I don't know if they'd take out the weapon, but I'm a lot more confident in their drive and stuff. Assuming their self riders are working though, because like they didn't come in with the self riders against Rotator just so that way they could have that back plow, but then their one self-riding mechanism, but they had the deadlift fight. So I think they were originally supposed to have two, but then only came into the arena with one for I
No,
forget what
I think it
reason.
only had. I
Okay.
think it only had one. They just didn't think it through. I think.
Yeah, that's also possible, but yeah, my vote is probably gonna be a nervous one for Jackpot here. I say nervous just because like if this fight actually happened, like I personally think I would not be surprised if I'm wrong about that. And you kind of get the idea, so
Corey Spin, what do you guys got?
I'm probably gonna just go Copperhead. I mean, Jackpot's a good robot. It's well driven, but like, it is still a budget build, and I Copperhead dishes out some nasty hits. I do think that there is an argument to be made for Jackpot winning it though, because Copperhead does kind of have exposed chains if you look in between the wheels.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could theoretically get behind Copperhead and take out one of those, and then it's game over. But I'll probably go Copperhead.
Spin, what do you got?
I think I'm gonna go with Jackpot. I think Copperhead's more powerful, but I think Jackpot's gonna just win the weapon on weapon hits, just like based on like how the weapon is designed. And I think with every hit, Jackpot creates enough space for it to spin up and line up for another hit. Even though I think Copperhead's better driven, I think Jackpot's just gonna take the early advantage. Basically, did do what Copperhead did to Black Dragon, just keep hitting it and controlling the fight. And I do think Copperhead will die eventually.
Yeah. This is probably the closest of all the quarterfinal fights here. Because both bots, while being potent 3-0s, they also had some inconsistencies within them. But here's the thing. Copperhead had much more better opponents that it fought. Like, Copperhead took out Gigabyte, probably like a B- bot at the time. P1, D+ bot at the time. Black Dragon,
C.
You could make an art, but at the time I'd say D+ bot.
It went 2-1, dude. It's not a D+ bot.
At the time when it fought Copperhead, before the smooth.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's neat.
And then it fought Black Dragon, who is like I'd say like a B+ bot at the time. So compare that to Jackpot's opponents.
Not even gonna argue with that.
Compare that to Jackpot's opponents. Sub-Zero, where it didn't even win that fight. Let's be honest here. Jackpot did nothing to win the Sub-Zero fight. Sub-Zero just died. And, like, Ghost Raptor D- bot, obviously. And, who was... Lockjaw was like a B- or a C+ bot at the time, I'd say. So, yeah. I'd go Copperhead for this one, so this is a tie, and we're gonna send it to Oblivion Prime.
Can I say something about the Copperhead Gigabyte fight?
Sure.
The first time? I mean, Gigabyte was using the spindle they used against Tombstone that was made out of Chinesium.
Sure.
So that was like removing a shell was just a given because of that. And in the Sub-Zero fight, Jackpot was using forks that sucked. Forks that they ditched immediately because it sucked.
True.
So, since Oblivion didn't have this fight on his bracket, since he predicted Perfect Phoenix to beat Jackpot by whatever reason, I'm just Oblivion just replied and said Copperhead. Okay, thank you, buddy. So, yeah. Copperhead wins and goes on to the Final Four, where it will be in a rematch against the Scorpio Boy, the Scorpiest of all boys, Scorpios. Now, here is our Final Four: the 16-seed Malice, the 12-seed Mad Catter, the 10-seed Scorpios, and the 3-seed Copperhead. Starting off, we have this fight. Malice versus Mad Catter.
Wait.
So, in the fight, Malice did a thing. Malice did a thing, and Mad Catter was all like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a pussy, so I won't attack Malice." So yeah,
I'm gonna damage my robot just so the fight can go on.
Yeah. So, what are your guys' thoughts on this one?
Okay, for one, Civilian Arc, you used a pit when you fought with Thought Contagion. So
Okay. Can I just say? No.
You used no. You look here. You used a pit, so you have no room to talk about how Mad Catter was like. Oh no, he didn't use it.
There are no other hazards.
It doesn't matter. You use a pit, so your shot is irrelevant.
Pory, would I have won? Pory, answer me this question. Just answer me this question, okay? Just answer me this question, all right? Would I have won the smushed red decision and the little ill will decision?
I would
Probably.
say yes.
So does it matter? Since you think I would have won either
Yes.
way.
Yeah, because Mad Catter probably would have won the fight anyway because it's a beefy honkin' wedge.
I'm not talking. Okay.
So for you it's valid, but in this fight it's like, oh, I hate that robot because it had a bad third fight. Oh my god!
What? Mad Catter never used an arena hazard. What are you on about?
It doesn't matter.
I would have won those two.
The point is, Martin Mason didn't sneak into like Bunny's computer and like design her CAD to have a flat butt where it gets stuck on it. He wasn't like sneaking in like, oh, we're gonna hack the mainframe, brother. Like, he wasn't doing that. That was Malice's fault.
Pory, put your goggles back on.
I don't want to hear it.
What do you think will happen in this fight? Spin, talk some reason to these fools.
Mad Catter wins, but it like goes all the way to a decision.
Green, what do you got? Or Green Spin, what do you two got? One of you two.
I'm gonna go Malice on the.
Wow.
I think it's gonna keep delivering hits. It's gonna keep being aggressive. Mad Catter didn't hold up well against two other horizontals, being Tombstone and Rotator. But to be fair, they are Tombstone and Rotator. What I do think is gonna happen is Malice is gonna be aggressive, and I think they're gonna be able to outdrive Mad Catter. I think they're gonna be able to get to the sides perhaps, or just keep on delivering hits that stack up. If they are using Hammer, if Mad Catter is using Hammer, I think Malice takes damage. If Mad Catter is using weapon, I think Malice might be able to take out the weapon, just going on the weapon hits. Though, if they do use Vert, I think it's gonna be closer than if they use Hammer.
Green, what do you got?
Personally feel like Mad Catter's probably going to try a similar strategy to the last one where they're going to come in with a hammer configuration and try to flip Malice and then hammer the underside. But we don't really know how much damage that hammer can do and stuff, and we already know Malice's weapon is very capable of doing damage, and I personally think, because supposedly Malice did have something put in place the for the for all their bracket fights, and then the bounty fights up until the Sub-Zero match. They had some
It
sort of
was
like
there.
they had some sort of like bunny tail or something like
Yeah,
that.
they had a butt plug.
But then they forgot some. But then I think they forgot it is what Malice said for the Sub-Zero fight, and of course the chaotic thing happened. So I'm gonna say Malice by a judge's decision, as I think while Mad Catter's easily going to have like the control factor, I think the aggression Malice would have, because Malice is a pretty aggressive robot, and the damage will win them that fight if these two happen to rematch. And Mad Catter is going to be eating a bunch of Malice branded cat food at the end of that fight.
So 2-1 for Malice as of now. Okay. Pory, can I just say why I hate Malice versus Mad Catter?
Yeah, I think I've heard you mention that before. I hate that robot because it had a boring fight.
No. I'm not talking about why I hate Mad Catter. I'll talk about why I hate Malice versus. And to be fair, the third fight isn't the only reason why I hate Mad Catter. So don't.
No, I know. I'm just saying, but like that was your primary reason, and obviously, if you hated it because of the fight, that means you hated the fight, and I mean that's fine. You don't have to like the fight. I'm just saying, I just like to roast my friends. That's just what I do.
Then why are you roasting me about doing good with Thought Contagion? That's me.
Oh, believe me, I'm gonna roast Green about all these Malice calls later. Don't you worry.
And I deserve it too for a bunch of my crazy hot takes.
Okay, so this is a very close fight to me, which pisses me off because this shows what could have been. So, here's my take. I'll go with what I think will happen if Mad Catter uses its vertical spinner, and then what will happen if it uses its hammer. Okay, so what I think will happen if Mad Catter goes with its vertical spinner is I think Mad Catter will have a good start to its fight, getting some good hits on Malice. Now, as Green has said, Malice supposedly had a bunny tail on it, and if there's any bot that Malice would put the bunny tail on for, it would definitely be Mad Catter, just because of that's why they needed the bunny tail in the first place. So I don't think Mad Catter is gonna get Mad Catter is gonna get that KO on Malice unless it takes off that bunny tail. Here's the thing: the guy who drives Malice, I forgot if it's like David Rush or one of the. I know it's one of the Davids, but I forgot which one it was.
Someone named David.
Yeah, it's one of the like 5 Davids on the team. But
I'm gonna change my name to David so they let me join.
David's my middle name.
You think
Yeah,
Bunny would let me join Team Malice?
I
Yeah,
think
probably,
I think Deep Six might ask me to join their team.
Yo, get me on.
Yeah.
All right, so what I think will happen is I think Malice will be taken advantage of, but I think we'll also pull out some good shots. I think both bots will lose their weapons around the same time, and it will come off to a push battle. I don't think Mad Catter has as powerful push power as Malice does. So I'd say judge's decision for Malice if it uses his vertical spinner. Now for the hammer. I feel like Malice's hammer, not Malice's, I feel like Mad Catter's hammer will go into play much more because of the bunny tail, and it'll try to snipe the weapon belt. I feel like at some point Mad Catter will get that shot on the belt, but I feel like the same principle will apply to the fight, to what I think will happen if Mad Catter uses the vertical spinner, where I think Malice will push Mad Catter around once they lose their weapons. So I'm gonna go with Malice for this one, regardless. So yeah, that's a 3-1 call for Malice. And Malice goes.
Who did Oblivion go for? I want to know.
Let me check. Oblivion didn't go for either. Here's what he did. This is baffling to me. He predicted Hypershock to make it all the way to the semifinals and go up against Mad Catter. So he didn't.
I don't think they would have beaten Huge. I mean, Malice, yeah, they beat Malice, sure, but not Huge, no shot.
Yeah, so I'll just leave that be for now since it's not a tie. So yeah, I see Green typing something in the podcast chat. I don't know if that's the question or not, but whatever. Okay, so now on to the right side, where we have a rematch between Scorpios and Copperhead. Now, in this fight, Copperhead did really good as it got a ton of great shots on Scorpios. Unfortunately, Copperhead died out, and Scorpios got the win. So, yeah, I feel like this will be a much better fight than what the last one was. And, yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think this is probably going to have a similar outcome. Well, I don't know about outcome exactly, but I think this fight's going to go pretty similar to how it did last time, because Scorpios is not going to win the ground game against Copperhead. Like, Copperhead has really good ground game to it, and Scorpios just has too many edges that Copperhead can very easily grab a hold of with that drum spinner. Like, yeah. If these two go head on, I think there's almost no doubt Copperhead is going to win that one. But yeah, in terms of reliability, though, Scorpios is definitely quite a bit more reliable than Copperhead, and I think this depends on like, can Copperhead last the full 3 minutes without getting potentially counted out and stuff? Like, I think I'm probably gonna say Copperhead for this one. I think they'll win this, but I'm not sure.
Pory Spin, what do you guys got?
Copperhead probably wins this. I mean, they lost to Scorpios the first time around, but they were having a lot of teething troubles, and I just feel like they would just infinitely do more damage. Yeah, I'm gonna go Copperhead.
Spin, what do you got?
Even though Scorpios was my pick to win, I think Copperhead might win this. So it's just gonna win ground game. It's just gonna keep delivering hits. However, I will say that Scorpios does stand a chance. It could outdrive. It can perhaps get to the side and scoop him up that way. But I think most cases Copperhead does win. However, if Copperhead, okay, if Copperhead does not get the KO, I do think Scorpios can turn it around because I think in the Black Dragon fight they were having overheating problems because of just how much they were dominating. Um, I think Black Dragon and Copperhead got stuck together, and that allowed Copperhead to cool down and continue its domination. But if that unstick did not happen, Black Dragon might have tried to take control, even though they wouldn't have because their weapon died. But if that happens here without the unstick, I do think Scorpios takes it. But I think I'm gonna go with Copperhead just because it will dominate and deal a lot of damage. I do think it takes the KO.
Yeah. What I think will happen is that I think this fight will be fairly similar to the Copperhead Black Dragon fight, at least in terms of how Copperhead performs. I feel like Copperhead will have a masterful for starting minute, and then a semi-okay second minute, and then just kind of be pretty weak in the last minute. But I feel like Copperhead will just have done so much damage to Scorpios that it won't matter. I feel like this fight will go to the judges, and I don't see Scorpios coming reeling back from damage. I feel like it might not be a clean sweep, but I feel at least Copperhead will win on damage and at least get some control and aggression points. So I'm gonna go for Copperhead. So
Oblivion would vote Copperhead for this one. He thinks Mad Catter would shred apart Malice if those two fought again.
okay. So this is our final two. We are here. This is it. We have our final two. Malice and Copperhead. Both bots have went through extreme feats to make it here. Malice taking out big names like Hypershock, Huge, and Mad Catter. Copperhead taking on big names like Lockjaw, Jackpot, and Scorpios. One of them will take the Battlebots What If Season 5 title here. And Oblivion's here for the final fight. Let's fucking go.
Yay!
Okay, guess what? I'm back. What the hell? How did Malice make it to the finals?
Because Malice
This
is
is
awesome and
completely
because
based.
they're
What the hell?
underrated.
So,
I explained it in the chat, Oblivion.
so who wants to go first? Wait, what?
I gave
gotta see
gave
this.
excellent logic for
I gotta
why
see
I
this.
think Malice would win that.
Yeah, Grin did give good logic. What are you talking? Okay, let me see it.
Compared to Pory, I'm a big old simp for Ribot.
Look, I'm gonna simp for the frog till the day I die
That's
because
it.
we're
Pory,
going all the way.
Pory, guess what?
No,
Guess what,
no,
Pory?
you look
Guess what,
here.
Pory?
We're
Guess
taking
what,
out
Pory?
Mad
Guess what,
Catter.
Pory?
We're taking out
Guess what,
Malice.
Pory? Guess
We're
what,
taking
Pory?
out.
Guess what, Pory? Guess
We're
what?
taking out Copperhead.
Guess what, Pory? If the Deep Six
What?
team, if the Deep Six team takes me on their team, I'm not inviting you.
Oh, yikes!
They won't take you on their team. I've been simping for Deep Six since they revealed that shit, so I want to hear it.
Yeah, but are you the zombie bait kid?
What?
Are you the zombie bait kid?
I don't know what you're
Oh, wait, are
talking
we
about.
doing the finals now, or
Yeah, we're doing the
Wait.
finals.
We're
Who
at the
wants-
finals,
Who wants
yes.
to talk about this fight? Who wants to give their take first?
I would go ahead because I might have to leave soon.
Okay.
I just like Mad Catter. Copperhead stomps this. I'm sorry. Malice just is not reliable. It's just not durable enough. Its weapon chain, as I
Uh,
All right.
have 2-3 hits, the weapon chain just comes flying off. I do not see its
Damn. Oblivion, your
West
mic.
Like
too
you're
long.
kind of
Oh.
you're
Hunting
cutting
across
out a
the
little
area.
you're
bit.
cutting out, Oblivion, yeah.
Yeah, you're cutting out.
All right, here I'll just go with my vote now while we're waiting on Oblivion here. I do think Copperhead would take this one, honestly, because while I do think Malice is definitely the more reliable and the more durable robot between these two, and I think if we had a push battle between these two, I think Malice would definitely win that with their drive battle. But while that weapon is going, Malice is not going to win a weapon on weapon exchange with
Oh, yeah.
Copperhead. And even though its weapon lasted only like a third of the fight against Mammoth between like the very beginning and the very end of it. But I still got wow, Pory's surprised, uh, but yeah, I think Copperhead will win this battle whole based off of weapon on weapon exchanges. I think it'll be a judge's decision, but I think Copperhead will get the points at the beginning of it that they need in order to win the battle by a JD.
Alright, Pory Spin, what do you two got?
Go, you deadlift Smee and Ribot Simp.
Look, you look here. Ribot is gonna win the 2021 championship. Deadlift and Smee and Pain Train, they're gonna make it far too, and you'll all see.
Pory,
What?
I'll wager you something. If Ribot, Deadlift, Smee, and Pain Train all do not make it to the top 16, you have to shave your beard.
I mean,
wow, that's interesting.
I mean, I don't bet the beard on nothing, but you know. Sorry, fam. I'll bet anything else. I'll bet you money. I'll bet you a kidney. I don't bet the beard. But yeah. For this fight, well, for one, we're going all the way, and for two, Copperhead takes out Malice in a few hits in this. Honestly.
Spin, what do you got?
Yeah, before Spin gets going, Oblivion says in the chat that Copperhead stomps.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Spin.
Before I say my vote, because Copperhead's gonna win this, just because you guys already voted Copperhead. I'm gonna say Malice stands a great chance. Copperhead does not take horizontal hits that well. Look at Chronos and look at Gigabyte Part 2. Gigabyte Part 1, to be fair, Gigabyte had a bad shell spindle. But I think what's going to happen is Malice is going to go in. It's going to get direct contact with the drum. Malice will initially lose the engagements, but I do think Malice will be able to turn around just based on its aggression and the fact that it's a horizontal and it's gonna deal good amounts of damage to Copperhead. Copperhead is more reliable, which is why I will be voting Copperhead. But I will say Malice stands a good chance.
Yeah, I do.
But I do think Copperhead takes it just because Malice will just throw its chain eventually, or belt, or whatever.
Yeah, I do agree with Oblivion that... Oblivion? Hi? Is Oblivion back? Is he?
Yeah, I think my screen still freezes sometimes.
Oh, okay. Oblivion, before you head out, can you answer a question for me?
Go ahead.
Who do you think will win between Endgame and Malice?
Endgame would storm that as well.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna have big time bragging rights if that happens.
Malice did not deserve to win against Mad Catter either. Mad Catter would also storm Malice.
Imagine the bragging rights will happen.
We cannot even
happen
the
that
Copperhead.
happen. It'll be even bigger than Tantrum and Saw Blade was.
2021.
I don't see any argument for Malice here. Like, I don't see any argument.
Spin, what did you just say?
In Endgame versus Malice 2021, I'm gonna switch to Malice.
What?
Yeah!
Spin.
See, Spin knows. Spin knows.
What the fuck is going on? Okay, who hasn't voted yet in this fight?
Battlebots community was a mistake. I just want to say that, you know.
Who hasn't voted in this fight?
And it's all your fault, Pory.
I'm leaving. I'm never coming back.
Me controversy.
No, look here. Deadlift is an angel. It's gonna go all the way. It's gonna win fights. It should have won fights last year, but you know they were having them teething troubles. It's rookies do. Deadlift would have beaten Ghost Raptor. They would have beaten Mammoth. They would have beaten the Gruff. Like, you know, Deadlift is just like sexy Gruff. Like, it's way better. It's way more sleek. It's a better robot.
But Deadlift isn't as hot as Gruff.
I mean, it's hot. It's got the flames.
Ooh, I like that one.
Deadlift's got the flames. You know, it's like Gruff is. You know, Gruff's okay, but you know, Deadlift's going all the way. And then Smee is going to surprise you all, just like they did last year. You know, they won 2 fights. They should have won two of their other fights. Smee was on top of the world last year, and all y'all don't even appreciate that. They should have beaten Kraken. They should have beaten Pain Train.
You're right, Green. You're right, Pory.
I think they. I do think they should have beaten Pain Train, but I don't think they should have beaten Kraken.
You're right. You're right,
I
Pory.
agreed with that call.
You're right, Pory. It will surprise us. It got 1 win this season, and now it's going to get 2 wins next season.
Pain Train. Smee got 2 wins last season.
Smee did get 2 wins.
Like, Smee beat Stupid Mammoth. So.
Like, I don't have a problem with Smee personally. Like,
I like Smee. It's neat.
Yeah,
it's a cool robot. It's on my team. It's gonna get me some dubs.
Make the top 4 though.
Has everyone?
It's gonna make the top 32, baby. We're going all the way.
Top 32, I could see.
Has everyone voted
top
in this
4?
fight?
Not
to me.
Has everyone voted in this fight besides me?
Can I switch to Malice and Malice versus Copperhead?
What the fuck?
It got stomped. I don't think it should have got stomped.
Okay.
It would get stopped. Let's be real here.
I mean, okay, you can switch your vote to Malice, I guess.
I like Malice. Malice was on my fantasy team last year, and they got me like 3 wins. Like, that's not bad.
Okay, I will agree with Spin here in the sense
4 wins.
In the sense that I think that Malice does stand a chance. I do feel like Malice will get out some good shots. I don't feel like this will go on to a KO just because Malice ain't that bot. Unless Copperhead gets
that bot.
Unless Copperhead makes Malice do the thing. So, but I don't think Malice is destructive enough. I don't think Malice is just capable to take out like a beast of a spinner as Copperhead. So, Copperhead wins 4-1 call. Copperhead is our new BattleBots What If champion. He is the one that will save us. He is our Lord, our Savior, Copper Christ. So, yeah, that will do it for this podcast. Shout out to Zach Lytle for finally winning a fucking title. Took you long enough.
Zach Lytle?
Oh yeah, fucking.
You got your Zachs mixed up.
Yeah, Zach Goff.
And then and for the record, they won Clash Bots with Spicy Newt.
Yep.
So he already won a title.
Big congrats to Copperhead. Anything you guys want to add to this before we end it for this?
Well, why aren't you congratulating Spicy Newt, dude?
I don't fucking know who that is.
It's a poison arrow, basically.
Oh, congrats to mid-tier drum spinner for
slightly
winning.
better spin up.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yep, that's it. And if you all are curious for what the next episode will be about, it will not be a bracket episode. Instead, we will be discussing what would happen if all the Battlebots decided to become 250 pounds bots and enter the Battlebots competition. But for now, that will do it for Battlebots What If. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this content, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell on your way out.